Hey everyone, and welcome. Today, we're going to pull back the curtain on the world around us and uncover some of the most surprising, hidden realities and stuff you literally see and use every single day.
Seriously, just think about that for a second. What if everything you take for granted is actually way more interesting than it looks? Because we're about to see how the coolest secrets are hiding right under our noses.
Like, have you ever actually looked at your towel and wondered about those flat stripes near the edge? Are they just for looks or what?
And what about your phone? When it says it's at 100%, well, it's kind of lying to you. We're going to get into the why behind these little mysteries and a whole lot more.
Okay, so first up, everyday objects. Let's dig into the secrets hiding in the things we think we know best.
So, back to that towel. That little strip, it actually has a name. It's called a dobby border. And no, it's not just there to look pretty. Its real job is to keep the whole thing from falling apart in the wash, preventing the edges from fraying. Yeah, that little thing you probably never even noticed, that's what's making your towel last.
And your phone's battery? This is actually super clever. See, if you jam a lithium-ion battery all the way to its absolute max charge every time, it wears out fast. So what do the phone makers do? They put in a little software trick. What you see as 100% is really more like 95 to 98% full. This little white lie makes your battery last way, way longer and, keeps it from overheating and becoming a safety risk.
Okay, get this one. This is a wild story. Fanta, the orange soda, it was invented in Nazi Germany during World War II, and the only reason was that they couldn't get any more Coca-Cola syrup because of the trade embargoes. So they had to scramble and invent a whole new drink with whatever ingredients they had lying around. And just like that, a global brand was born.
All right, so let's shift gears from man-made stuff to the natural world. Because trust me, reality in the animal kingdom is often way weirder than anything we could make up. I mean, check out this odd couple, a giant spider and a tiny frog. In some parts of the world, a huge tarantula basically becomes a bodyguard for a little frog. Why? Well, the frog hangs around and eats all the ants and pests that try to attack the spider's eggs. And in return, the frog gets 24/7 protection from anything that might want to eat it. It's this perfect little deal they've worked out for survival.
We have these ideas about which animals are the deadliest, right? Take the Australian funnel web spider. It has this terrifying reputation, one of the most venomous in the world. And yet, get this, since they developed an anti-venom back in 1981, the number of confirmed deaths from its bite is 0. Not a single one. Science completely defanged one of nature's biggest threats.
And this idea, this theme of things not being what they seem, it pops up in medicine too, where sometimes the most obvious solution is actually the wrong one.
Okay, so think about a kidney transplant. When a patient gets a new kidney, what's the first thing you think they do with the old failing ones? They take them out, right? Seems logical.
Nope. Here's the crazy part. Most of the time, the surgeons just leave them in there. They just plumb in the new healthy kidney right next to the old ones, which just kind of stop working. So why? Why leave them in? It's all about making the surgery safer. Actually, taking out the old kidneys is a much bigger, more complicated, and riskier operation. By leaving them, the surgery is faster and the overall risk to the patient goes way down. It's just a brilliantly simple solution that puts the patient's safety first.
Okay, let's switch it up and talk about numbers. Because big, flashy numbers can sometimes tell a very misleading story if you don't have the full picture. Check this out. A 6-story castle in Japan was on the market for just 50 lakh rupees. A castle. That sounds like an absolute steal, right? You'd be crazy not to buy it.
But there's always a catch, isn't there? That purchase price, that's just the tip of the iceberg. Turns out, the building needed about $700,000 in essential repairs just to make it safe. It's the perfect example of how a cheap price tag can be a very, very expensive trap.
Here's another mind-bending number for you. Right now, there are about 8 billion of us on the planet. But scientists estimate that in all of human history, about 110 billion people have lived and died. Think about that. All of us alive right now, we're just the tiny, visible tip of the massive iceberg of humanity.
For our last section, let's look at something a lot of us use without a second thought: cooking gas. Because the price on that cylinder is tied to this huge, complex global drama that you probably never even think about.
Yeah, the price you pay isn't just decided down the street. It's a whole global story of who's producing it, who's importing it, and of course, politics. All of that affects the final number.
Okay, so let's look at some numbers. We've converted everything to Indian rupees to make it easy to compare. So, on one end of the spectrum, you've got a place like Saudi Arabia. Pretty cheap. But then look all the way at the other end. Nepal. It's almost 1,900 rupees for the same size cylinder. So what gives? Why the massive price gap?
Well, it really boils down to a few big things. First, if you make your own, like Saudi Arabia, it's cheap. Simple. But if you have to import it, like India, or especially a landlocked country like Nepal, you're paying for all that shipping and handling. And then you have economic chaos, like what's happened in Sri Lanka, that can just send prices through the roof. It all connects.
You know, it all kind of brings to mind this great quote from Sherlock Holmes. The world is full of obvious things which nobody by any chance ever observes. It's so true, right? The world is just packed with these fascinating things that we walk past every day without really seeing them.
So I'll leave you with this question. After hearing all this, what's one everyday thing, whether it's your towel, your phone, or something else entirely, that you're going to look at completely differently now? Thanks for joining me.